Let's start things off with one of the hottest topics in Chiefs Kingdom right now. Should Kansas City make a move for Thibodeaux? This rumor came out of left field, but it's got fans fired up. Thibodeaux, the former number 5 overall pick by the New York Giants, is the kind of high-upside pass rusher that could thrive in Kansas City's defense if he's used right. And that's the big if. Now, here's what we know. The Giants picked up his 5th-year option before the draft. That usually signals that a team plans to keep a guy around. But at the same time, there have been quiet rumblings that New York was at least willing to take calls. They've added Brian Burns to pair with Dexter Lawrence up front, and they drafted Abdul Carter. So it's possible Thibodeaux becomes the odd man out. From a Chiefs perspective, this is the type of opportunity Brett Veach should be ready to pounce on. Even though Thibodeaux has faced criticism, especially around his personality and locker room presence, Kansas City has proven time and time again that they can create a culture where players are forced to buy in or ship out. If Kayvon puts his ego aside, he could be a dangerous weapon under Steve Spagnuolo. Remember, Thibodeaux had a strong 2023 season. He posted solid sack numbers despite being in a system that didn't exactly maximize his talents. Imagine what he could do with Chris Jones on the interior and George Karlaftis on the opposite side. That's a scary trio for any offensive line to deal with. So let's throw it to you. Should the Chiefs make a trade for Thibodeaux? Be the GM for a second. Drop your vote in the comments, type T for trade or P for pass. And if you're fired up about moves like this and want to stay on top of every Chiefs rumor as it happens, hit that subscribe button and make sure your notifications are on. Join the Noti Gang. We drop daily updates, and you don't want to miss what's next. Let's break down why Thibodeaux actually makes sense in Kansas City's defensive system. Because it's not just about adding talent. It's about adding the right talent. First off, Steve Spagnuolo's defense thrives when it has athletic, high-motor edge rushers who can play multiple roles. Think about how he's used guys like Karlaftis, Mike Dana, and even Charles Omenihu. He rotates his linemen, asks them to stunt, drop into coverage occasionally, and switch sides mid-drive. Thibodeaux has the skill set to handle that. He's long, he's explosive, and, when locked in, he can be disruptive against both the run and the pass. The other part of this is age and contract flexibility. Thibodeaux is still on his rookie deal through 2026. That gives Veach and Spags 2 full seasons to coach him up, evaluate his fit, and decide if he's worth a long-term investment. For a team that's consistently working around the cap, this is the kind of low-risk, high-reward move that could pay off huge. And let's not forget the versatility this would create. With Thibodeaux and Karlaftis on the edges, Omenihu can be used more as a hybrid inside-out guy, which might be where he's most effective. Chris Jones can do his thing without always having to fight double teams. The whole unit becomes more flexible, more dangerous, and a bigger problem for opposing quarterbacks. Plus, the AFC is loaded with elite quarterbacks. We're talking Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and of course, Kansas City's biggest rival right now, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. If you want to win in January, you need to pressure the quarterback without blitzing. Thibodeaux helps with that. The question isn't just, is Thibodeaux worth trading for? It's, can he take this defense from top 5 to number 1 in the NFL? That's the upside we're talking about here. All right, Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think? Would Spags be the guy to unlock Thibodeaux's full potential? Let us know in the comments. And if you've got a defensive MVP prediction for 2025, we want to hear it. Now let's talk trade details. Because dreaming is fun, but reality matters. What would it actually take for the Chiefs to land Thibodeaux? Let's be real. The Giants aren't giving him away. Even if they're open to moving him, they'd want something in return. Probably something valuable. But the good news? Brett Veach knows how to work a deal, especially when it involves untapped potential. So, what's the starting point for a trade like this? We're probably talking a second-round pick, maybe a conditional third that could bump up depending on Thibodeaux's production. Something like, the Chiefs send a 2025 second-rounder and a 2026 conditional fourth that becomes a third if Thibodeaux hits a certain sack total. The Chiefs could even sweeten the pot with a player. Maybe a rotational guy on defense or someone from the wide receiver room, which is suddenly deep with young talent. That kind of package would appeal to a team like the Giants, who are clearly rebuilding and looking to stockpile draft picks. On Kansas City's end, the cap hit matters. But again, Thibodeaux is still on a rookie deal. His base salary for 2025 is manageable, and the Chiefs would have the fifth-year option for 2026 if things go well. That gives them control, flexibility, and the ability to walk away if it doesn't work out. Classic Veach move, right? Now, there's always a risk when trading for a former high pick who hasn't quite lived up to the hype. But if there's one GM in the league who thrives on those kinds of moves, it's Brett Veach. Just look at what he did with Kadarius Toney and Charles Omenihu. The Chiefs love taking chances on high-ceiling players who just need a fresh start. The big question is whether the Giants are actually shopping Thibodeaux or if this is just off-season noise. But if Veach senses there's a real shot, you better believe he'll be working the phones. So what do you think? Should KC be aggressive and offer that second-rounder? Or hold off and focus on in-house development? Let's hear it in the comments. Let's now step back and ask the key question. Does trading for Kayvon Thibodeaux actually make sense for the Kansas City Chiefs? On one hand, the Chiefs already have a strong defensive core. George Karlaftis has been developing into a reliable pass rusher, and the addition of Mike Dana, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and Charles Omenihu gives Kansas City solid depth along the edge. So at first glance, this move might seem like a luxury. But here's the thing, championship teams don't just settle for solid, they chase greatness. And that's where Thibodeaux comes in. Think about the long term. Omenihu and Dana are both free agents after this season. Anudike-Uzomah is still growing into his role, and Karlaftis, while improving, hasn't quite hit that game wrecker status yet. Thibodeaux could become that guy, a player who not only brings physical tools, but the kind of raw upside that could tilt playoff games. And let's be honest, defensive. Coordinator Steve Spagnuolo would love to get his hands on Thibodeaux. Spags has a track record of unlocking pass rushers with high motor and athleticism. If anyone could turn him into a consistent threat, it's him. Plus, this isn't just about 2025. It's about the next 3 to 5 years of this dynasty. Adding a guy like Thibodeaux now, while he's still affordable and moldable, could pay off big time once he's comfortable in the system. Of course, there are risks. Maybe he never becomes the elite pass rusher he was projected to be. Maybe he struggles with consistency. But with the Chiefs' defensive depth, they can afford to be patient. He wouldn't have to start right away or carry the load alone. That's the beauty of this setup. And let's not forget, Patrick Mahomes is in his prime. Every year is a Super Bowl window, so if there's a chance to add a difference maker without blowing up the cap or giving away first-round picks, that's worth a serious look. Would it be bold? Sure. But Brett Veach didn't build this roster by playing it safe. And this could be another savvy move that pushes the Chiefs one step closer to another ring. So here's the bottom line. Chiefs Kingdom. The idea of trading for Kayvon Thibodeaux might sound wild on the surface, but when you dig deeper, it starts to make more and more sense. Yes, there are risks. Yes, it would take some negotiation and some serious trust in your coaching staff. But if Brett Veach has proven anything over the years, it's that he knows how to identify undervalued talent and put them in a position to succeed. Just look at what he did with players like L'Jarius Sneed, Mike Dana, and even Jerick McKinnon. Kansas City knows how to develop talent, and Thibodeaux might just need the right environment to take that next leap. The Chiefs are in an all-in era. With Mahomes locked in, Travis Kelce still producing, and the defense becoming a true force under Spags, now is the time to take calculated swings. Bringing in Thibodeaux could give the Chiefs a younger, higher upside version of what Frank Clark used to be for this defense. A big-time disruptor when it matters most. And even if it doesn't happen, just the idea that the Chiefs are being linked to players like this tells you something. It shows how aggressive and forward-thinking this front office really is. They're always looking for ways to evolve, stay ahead, and build for both the present and the future. But what do you think? Here's the big question. For today's video, should the Chiefs seriously pursue a trade for Thibodeaux, or is it just smoke and mirrors? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Would you be willing to part with a day 2 pick and a player to bring him in? Or would you rather the Chiefs keep building with the young pass rushers already in-house? Also, let us know this in the comments. If not Thibodeaux, who's one player you'd love to see Veach trade for before the season kicks off? We'll be reading through your takes all week and might even feature some of the best ones in our next video. Chiefs Kingdom, your voice matters here. Hit that like button if you're fired up for another Super Bowl run, and don't forget to subscribe for more bold breakdowns and smart Chiefs talk every week.